Hello, welcome to a very quick video because I was having a quick look through some numbers and stuff because I've been planning a couple of videos for the international break to try and work out step by step what Leeds are doing right and what Leeds are doing wrong. And I found a little bit of information that made me kind of really like what Dominic Calvert-Lewin is doing right now, and I'm gonna sort of ping that over in your general direction right now and hopefully have a little bit of a conversation starter on what Calvert-Lewin is doing for Leeds United at this moment, and ultimately what that's going to mean going forwards throughout the rest of the season if things are able to start adding up. But before I do all of that, I would hugely appreciate I've got to test a thing. Let's find out if this works. It doesn't. Okay. I'd hugely appreciate if you could just quickly pop a like on the video, subscribe if you're not yet, and comment, because that's just massively appreciated. YouTubing is very difficult at the minute because YouTube is being horrible to people who do long form stuff, so doing everything that I can with it. Anyway, into the main bit of the video. Specifically, I was having a look through various sort of numbers surrounding shot creating actions, because I've been doing this a little bit recently because they are ultimately the lifeblood of a team's attack. If you're getting shot creating actions from defensive situations, for example, you can tell that a team is pressing quite a bit. But I thought I'd break that down a little bit further and see the individual contexts in which players are creating those chances. So shot creating actions, on a player-by-player basis as opposed to just a full team basis, and landing on Dominic Calvert-Lewin was quite interesting. So his shot creating actions are fairly solid so far this season. He's got something like 10 off the top of my head, but the players that he's got more shot creating actions than will be quite surprising to you. So he's better than, and this is per 90 specifically because I don't want to just sort of take a big number, but it creates more shots per 90 than Xavi Simons, than Kaoru Mitoma at Brighton, who is a winger who is sort of known for his ability to create opportunities. More shots created by Calvert-Lewin than Victor Gyökeres, than Erling Haaland, than Igor Thiago at Brentford, than Ollie Watkins at Aston Villa, and than Wilson Isidore at Sunderland. That sort of shows us that the style of attacking work that is being done by Dominic Calvert-Lewin right now is a little bit different to a lot of forwards in this league, because in terms of the players that he creates fewer shots than, in terms of those attacking positions, he creates fewer than Anthony Gordon, who is a winger turned into a striker, who again takes some of those wing style ways of playing and applies them to a forward position. Same for Bowen, same for Ekitike, who has played on the wings quite a lot. And Benjamin Šeško is also on that list, which is a little bit of a surprise to me, because Man United aren't really doing much. And you might look at that and you might think, okay, cool, so Dominic Calvert-Lewin is doing the thing that he isn't meant to do, because a striker, surely, is responsible for putting the ball in the back of the net, and that means taking shots and putting shots on target, and all this kind of stuff. Sure, okay, let's take that approach instead. So I had a look at shots on target in the league so far. And I sorted first by percentage because I was kind of a little bit interested in, like, okay, who has the best sort of shot on target percentages going? What does that ultimately mean going forwards? And this bit was sort of fascinating. So, in terms of pure strikers with a better shot on target rate than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, there is one. And that would be Iliman Ndiaye. However, of the players who are fairly high up on the shot on target percentage rate, Calvert-Lewin is the 5th highest accuracy for shots so far this season, which is frankly ridiculous. A lot of people will look at Calvert-Lewin and go, yeah, he's not super clinical. He's putting a hell of a lot of these shots directly where they need to be between the sticks. Admittedly, could be a bit more clinical, could put them in the corners a little bit more, could make the keeper work a little bit more. But the first thing that you need to do, and the first thing that will cause a problem for a goalkeeper, is get it on target in the first place. We've seen it consistently that goalkeepers will make mistakes, and that includes in the Premier League. You don't get immune to making an error just because you're... Hold on, a little bit. There we go. Just because you're in a slightly different division. Instead, you can even sometimes lose focus because you're not taking as many shots, and that sort of makes things a little bit complex. And a lot of people might look at that and go, okay, so I guess he just isn't taking many shots then, because that's been another big critique of Calvert-Lewin. He takes his time before taking the shot. And I personally think that's just to make sure that every effort that he has is definitely going on target, because you've got to be certain. So I had a look into that as well. And in terms of numbers of shot on target per 90, and this is a little bit nuts as well, Calvert-Lewin is currently, out of the players that have played, more than 390s of football. He has the third highest levels of shot on target per 90. So top of that list is Erling Haaland, who's played 6.690s and has 2.12 shots on target per 90. Behind him is Matheus Cunha, who has 1.79, and then is Calvert-Lewin with 1.75. And that is just the sort of demonstration to me that, sure, Dominic Calvert-Lewin might not be having a ton of shots, but when he does, they're definitely going on target, and we are seeing that they are going on target. And I think all that necessarily needs to change is that shot volume, that confidence, because we saw in the match against Spurs last weekend that Calvert-Lewin at one point would take 3 or 4 3 or 4 touches to get the ball out from under his feet, then have a go. Be a little bit snappier, because in terms of shot volume, that's where the problem is. In terms of pure number of shots being taken, Calvert-Lewin is something like 72nd in the league. I'll have a very quick look just to make sure that I'm not accidentally misleading folk. 72nd. Most shots per 90, which is not a good place to be. 2.25, which again, with your ridiculously high accuracy rate, that translates to a lot of shots on target, but you've got to sort of be in the lottery to win it. And the players that are above him are wild. So, for example, you got Riccardo Calafiori, who has more shots per 90 than Dominic Calvert-Lewin at the moment. He's a left-back. You also have Willy Gnonto, who takes more shots per 90. You also have Joel Piroux, who takes more shots per 90. And admittedly, their accuracy isn't quite as good. But they're having a go, which I think is going to be something that's very important as the season goes on, and is something that we might need to pay a little bit of attention to. This was a sort of general rambly thing that was discussing the style of Dominic Calvert-Lewin recently, and the way that whilst he gets a hell of a lot of critique, and that's fair enough because there is a decent bit to critique in his game, a lot of people aren't quite recognising that the way that he does things isn't just get the ball, shoot, because that's what you assume happens with a traditional number 9. Instead, it's get the ball, see if I can bring others into the play. We saw that for our goal this weekend, where Calvert-Lewin took it down, laid the ball off nicely to Aronson, who had a shot bobbles out to Okafor. Beautiful. Love to see it. So the way that he's bringing other players into the game is essential, and is going to be a big part of us ultimately pushing forward for the rest of the season, and hopefully managing to get more points than we did against Tottenham Hotspur, because we deserve more than that. But shoot more, things will work out, is my rough sort of stab in the dark estimate of what's going on here. But as always, that is all just what I think. I also think that you should maybe subscribe to the channel. The button's down here, and it's an easy little one click, and it's completely free to you, and really, really, it makes me happy, you know. You can also pop a comment in, let me know what you're thinking on Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or become a channel member if you fancy. It's $2.99 per month, and you get a bunch of videos and stuff early, including this one. I've been Joe, and I hope you've enjoyed. I will see you later. Doodaloo. Also, I'm sorry, I had a bath after I played 7-a-side, and it's warm, so toodaloo.